The Lions have 6 offensive coordinator candidates so far. Let's rank them.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, we got ourselves a Friday edition of Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Matt Dery with you on an MLK Day weekend, Friday, January 16th and a Saturday, January 17th. We got divisional playoff games this weekend. We got to root in our Rams on Sunday for the 6 o'clock or 6:30 start time in Chicago. Thanks for making us your first listen. As always, checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Lions for this Friday is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. A lot to do on the show today, including our very own Bradford Banta. You watch him twice a week on our Lions squad shows with Jake Riepma and Natalie Kerwin. Bradford, the former Lions long snapper, tight end, special teams assistant coach. He's going to join the program. We'll check in with Brad in a little bit here on the show. We'll ask him about his top choice for OC. We'll talk about mindset change and Brad Holmes a little bit when it comes to the draft. Plus, I want to dive a little bit deeper into our Everydayer Club, which we have right here on Locked On Lions. You can join us on our Discord. I want to talk about that. One of our Discord members called in as our caller of our call of the day. If you want to be the call of the day, it is simple. Go to speakpipe.com/Dery podcast page, speakpipe.com/Dery podcast page. Quick note before we do anything else, Jim O'Neill, the Lions safeties coach, who's been with the team now the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025, former defensive coordinator both in college and in the pros with the Browns and other teams. Jim O'Neill has interviewed for the Jets' vacant defensive coordinator spot. Jets announced 8 candidates that they've talked to replace Steve Wilks. And, of course, that's Aaron Glenn looking for a new DC. And on the list is Lions safeties coach Jim O'Neill. With that as the backdrop today, talking about coordinators and everything else, we know this. The Lions have talked with 7 OC candidates. One is off the board, and that is David Blau, who, of course, was the Commanders' assistant quarterbacks coach, had the Detroit ties. He has now become the OC and offensive coordinator in Washington. But we've got Mike McDaniel, Jake Peetz, Seahawks passing game coordinator, T. Martin, Ravens quarterbacks coach, Mike Kafka, the Giants offensive coordinator, was their interim head coach this year, former Falcons OC Zach Robinson, and Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. So let's rank them. If we're sitting here right now, a couple weeks into this process, and I think there's going to be more people on the Lions' radar. If, let's say, they like McDaniel best, but McDaniel gets an opportunity to be a head coach, let's say in Cleveland or Tennessee, he's going to be a head coach. The Lions are taking their time in this process. They're talking to a lot of different people, and that's all we've asked for, and that's what I like. But if we had to rank the 6 guys right now, I'd put McDaniel number 1. All right. Great offensive mind. I think would work well with Dan Campbell, is creative. And this is somebody that Baltimore, Cleveland, Tennessee, and Atlanta all have talked to about their head coaching position. Now, there was a report the other day that said McDaniel would prefer to be an OC somewhere good, like Detroit or Tampa Bay, and he's interviewing for the Bucs OC job too. Or he would rather take that opportunity over a bad head coaching job. Now, look, the Browns have been a dumpster fire for years, right? Maybe he looks at the Ravens situation and doesn't like it. I don't know. But McDaniel, to me, is the number 1 guy on this list right now. Number 2 is a tough call. You all know that I like myself. I like me some Mike Kafka. He's interviewed for the Bucs OC job. He's interviewed for the Lions OC job. Put on a great show for the Giants this past season when they came to Ford Field in week 12 and nearly beat the Lions. I would say it's a tie for 2 between Kafka and Zach Robinson for me. I think Robinson, with his run game style and what they did in Atlanta in the run game appeals to me a little bit. All right. He also is talking to Tampa Bay, and Philadelphia is interested in Zach Robinson after they let Kevin Patullo go. So you got openings all over the place. Tampa, Philly, the Chargers, of course, looking to replace Greg Roman. So I'm putting McDaniel 1. I'm tying Robinson and Kafka for 2. At number 4, I guess let's go with Seahawks passing game coordinator Jake Peetz. I don't know a ton about him. We know that he's only been an OC one time, and that was for one season at LSU. But the Seahawks passing game over the last couple of years, especially this year where Peetz has worked closely with Sam Darnold, has taken off. T. Martin, I'll put 5th. Ravens quarterbacks coach. Reportedly met with the Lions on Monday, not getting any other interviews. And look, Lamar Jackson this year regressed. Now, I know some of it was injury. I get that. I'm not doing backflips about T. Martin. And at number 6, I mean, Arthur Smith. I know the fan base isn't wild about the mustached one, Arthur Smith. And I heard Natalie Kerwin on the Lions Squad show today use my same line, which was, I think he looks like a big cat, Dan Katz from Barstool with the mustache. Look, Arthur Smith has a lot of experience. Ran that Titans offense with Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. Ran the Steelers offense this past season and for the last couple of years. I just am underwhelmed by Arthur Smith and his offenses and how bland they are. And their overutilization of the tight end, almost to the point of the receivers not getting the rock enough. With that being said, Tennessee, who has familiarity with Arthur Smith, is going to interview him for their for their head coaching job, as are the Arizona Cardinals. This was a Steelers offense that spent most of the season ranked in the 20s. And I know they had a 40-year-old quarterback, and they didn't really have one running back. You know, Kenny Gainwell had a nice year. Jalen Warren was solid, but I don't know. And we talked about it yesterday with Tim, with the text from Tim Benz from Pittsburgh from Trib Live, who's been covering that team for a long time. Arthur Smith just doesn't do it for me. I just think it's not creative enough. It's boring. It's underwhelming. It's bland. Does have head coaching experience. I know his offense when he was in Atlanta wasn't. You know, there were games, especially with Kirk Cousins and then Michael Penix. Actually, no, he had Cousins, not Penix. But you know, it is what it is. Arthur Smith is underwhelming to me. I'm more excited by Mike McDaniel. I'm putting McDaniel 1, Robinson 2, along with Kafka. Peetz, Martin, and Smith. And again, other candidates are out there. I know that Brian Daboll is interviewing for the head coaching job of the Ravens. You wonder, why isn't Daboll talking to the Lions? He and Dan Campbell are friends. They go way back from their Miami days. That has not happened yet. And we'll also see who else is available after this weekend. What if the Bears lose? What a guy like Antoine Randall L. What if the Rams lose? Nate Shieldhouse, who I know has done some interviewing already for some head coaching jobs. The list should be long and continue to be long. Talk to everybody. Find the right fit. I like the approach that the Lions are going with right now with feeling it out. But for this group of 6 right now, I'm putting McDaniel first and I'm putting Arthur Smith last. Although Arthur Smith's best game as the OC was in Detroit this year. All right, coming up next, Bradford Banta from the Squad Show, and also Lions former long snapper and tight end will join us. We'll do that coming up next, right here on a Friday edition of Locked on Lions. And the Locked on Lions for today, brought to you by our friends at Ultimate QB. Yes, that is right. You played this game yet? Ultimate QB Football Legend. It's awesome. The draft picks positions are set. We know this. The Lions are going to be 17th, but some teams are looking for that franchise quarterback. Ever wish to become a pro QB? Getting drafted in the first round by the Lions overall? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of a number one draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number one quarterback career mode game on the mobile app stores. It's fun, and it introduces the most realistic environment, and you got full career control. All right, sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, build chemistry, evolve your teammates, give input to your general manager on roster moves, play the actual games in 2D, and rise through the ranks to become a true pro football legend. You'll deal with the ups and downs of a quarterback career, rookie nerves to playoff drama, and every choice shapes your journey. Ultimate QB is totally free to play. There's no ads. Works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search Ultimate QB in your app store. And we got something special just for you guys. Promo code Locked On in all caps in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB Football Legend, QB1, it is your legacy. And the program today also brought to you by Home Chef. My wife and I use it. New Year is here. A lot of people are trying to simplify their routines, especially when it comes to eating. And dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. That is where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated number one by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And it's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule, 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, or quick lunches. Everything arrives pre-portioned. So there's less prep, less meals, and no wasted food. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. All right, it's been a while since we've visited with our buddy Bradford Banta, of course, former Lions tight end, long snapper, assistant coach, and now one of the co-hosts of the Lions Squad Show right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. He joins us today on a Friday edition. What's up, Brad? Good to see you.
Hey, good to be seen, Matt. I appreciate you having me on today.
What's happening? What's new in your world?
What's new in my world? Golly, other than watching it snow today, that's
For the 500th time.
Yeah, exactly. No, I would say, got a lot of balls up in the air, looking at different business propositions and just keeping busy all over the place. It by the time that end of the day comes around, I look up and I'm like, where did the day go?
Yeah.
Just between phone calls, because I'm sitting here working. I work from home, and it's amazing how quickly everything passes. And then, you wake up the next day and you're doing it all over again.
No doubt. Check out Brad again, along with Jake Riepma and Natalie Kerwin on the Lions Squad Show twice a week, right here wherever you get your podcast, Locked On Lions pages, everything else. I know you guys talked a little bit on your show today with Jennifer Hammond about the OC situation. Before you came on, I kind of looked at it. I went, all right, we got 6 candidates right now, and I'm hoping for more. And where would you rank them? How would you rank them? And Mike McDaniel certainly was number 1, and Arthur Smith was certainly number 6 in my mind. How would you rank them? And is a guy like Zach Robinson kind of tickle your fancy a little bit?
I think what it boils down to, Matt, is who fits in Dan's mind whenever the interviews take place. And then, what's the give and take? Because, look, we all see the perceived personality of McDaniel down in Miami, but what he can bring to the table offensively is something very similar to what Ben Johnson brought these last couple of years. And that stability to that side of the ball. And that's something that Dan doesn't have to worry about whenever the game's being played. He knows it's going to be called. a good way. He knows it's God, no. He knows it's going to be called a certain way, and he can just worry about managing the game.
Yeah.
And that's the major difference that we saw this year. I think it was in 21 whenever he let Anthony Lynn go, and Dan took over the play calling responsibilities that year as well. It just doesn't lead to good outcomes. And it's something that he had to do. And I still haven't gotten to the bottom of the story, because you hear all this stuff. Well,
sure.
John didn't connect with the guys. Well, yeah. I mean, okay. Who connects with them? I mean, right. Nobody does. I mean, you can say Dan does, you can say the other coaches do. Okay. Explain to me connecting with the players. What, is he going out with them during the off season? Is he, are they hammering it up in the locker room after practice? No. It's just, I think it boiled down to Dan just didn't like the way that John was calling the plays.
Sure.
And, he observed him. I'm sure he observed him in the meeting rooms, and maybe it was the way that he was presenting that it just didn't jive with him. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point. I remember covering the Pistons many years ago, and we were just talking about this, Pistons radio and doing pre and post. I remember Rip Hamilton at the time and John Kuster did not speak. They literally were not on speaking terms. I was the head coach and the best player, and the best player was upset because some of his friends were traded away, including Chauncey Billups, and he kind of acted out a little bit. And it was like, wait a minute, Rip used to Rip Kuster was at Rip's wedding. They were friends. What happened? And it's like, that stuff sometimes gets overrated, right? I mean, you've been in locker rooms. I'm sure you've had some coaches that guys didn't like, but if they were damn good at their job and these players were effective, a lot of that didn't matter, didn't it?
No, it doesn't matter, because look, you don't have to like him. You just have to respect him. I mean, that's what it boils down to it. Yeah. The players have to understand that the coach is trying to put them in the best situation possible for success. And that is a very selfish way of looking at things. But that's what you have whenever you have 53 individual corporations coming together to form a conglomerate that forms an NFL organization. Because that one corporation, that one person is the president, marketing manager, accountant, everything in the C-suite for that one corporation. So, and then you have, they all come together as a conglomerate and make it work.
Look at you using big terms like C-suite. You are a businessman. Yes. By the way, so you look at these other OC openings and you see the Chargers, you see the Eagles, among Tampa Bay and the Lions. How much more attractive is the Detroit job than these others in your mind?
You look at, we can kind of go down the line. I mean, let's start with the Detroit Lions. If you're if you're getting interviewed for an offensive coordinator position for the Detroit Lions, you look at the weapons that you have on offense, but you also have to look at a couple other things, with the possibility of Taylor Decker retiring, which kind of it does not help out your offensive line, which happens to be one of the number one priorities that you have to address this offseason. And we were even talking about the center from Baltimore being a possible, a possible free agent and a free agent target. If you have a chance to go get him and get the deal done. Is it going to happen? A lot can happen between now and the time that free agency starts. But the weapons that the Lions have, and everybody's talking about Goff's mobility and this, that, and the other. You have to take this into consideration. Jared's only 31 years old.
Right.
He's not old. I mean, he has a ton of tread left on the tire, and he is a very productive player. And then the next one I would possibly look at is the LA Chargers. just because of the quarterback that they have in place there. Oh gosh. I mean, and just knowing that but you're going to have to jive with Jim.
Right.
Just talking about mentality wise, because Jim's going to come at you and he's going to have some ideas and he's going to have some firm thoughts on how the offense needs to be run. And you have to have, whenever you come across with something that doesn't mesh with his thoughts, then you have to have a firm reason why, or give him something to chew on for a little bit to think of a response. But again, the weapons that they have at the Chargers, intriguing.
Sure.
Then Cleveland, I don't.
Well, those are head coaching openings. I mean, it's
yeah.
It's the Wild West now, and for a guy like, let's say Brian Daboll, for example, I mean, he's interviewing for the Titans head coaching job. He doesn't get a head coaching job. He'll then look at the OC situations. He may end up going back and being the OC somewhere
at the Titans. You never know.
He was interviewing for that coaching job. This is a wild scene right now. Do you ever remember it being it's like 40% of the league?
You know what? Hammer asked me that question, and I don't remember this many, because it's at 9 right now.
Yeah.
I believe it head coach openings ever happening, and you actually had 2 that became available during the season, and now with an additional 7. You look at the AFC East. I mean, with the Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens.
Oh, the North. Yeah.
I mean, the North. I'm sorry. Yeah. And there were people talking about getting Zach Taylor out of there.
He's
down in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he's the senior guy now, Zach Taylor.
Isn't that funny? Oh gosh, that is great.
I
didn't even think about that.
That would have been a great bet in the middle of the season to say which coach will keep it. If 3 of the 4 coaches got fired, he would have been one going, oh, he'll be on the list.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Well, it all depends on how many years he has left on his contract.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whenever you're dealing with the Bengals, that's what a lot of it.
Right. Mike Brown, infamous.
Yeah, exactly.
Bradford Banta with us. One more thing. Brad Holmes, when he drafted early on in rounds, when the Lions were bad, and they got better, obviously, went from 3 to 9 and 12 wins. But this past year was, after 15 wins, you're drafting 27th, 28th, whatever Tyleik Williams was, and you didn't get Ratledge till 58. Now they're back up at 17. Does that make a difference? How big of a difference does it make in your mind in terms of the quality of player that they're going to get in those rounds?
No, it definitely makes a difference, because you're picking 10 spots ahead of where you picked last year. So that's proverbially, yeah, man, I screwed that word up. But you're theoretically, that I can pronounce that one better. You are going to possibly pick a better athlete for your team if you're 10 spots ahead. Now, with all that being said,
I knew
you look at all the UDFAs, the undrafted free agents. You look at Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, all these people who have had umpteen number. Okay, Tom Brady,
St. Brown.
Yeah, exactly. All these people that have been drafted ahead of them, they carry a chip on their shoulder. One thing that they could possibly do is pick up some additional draft capital. Speaking with some people that I trust, this year's draft class is okay.
Yeah,
it's not the strongest. If you could possibly pick up some draft capital in future drafts where you could possibly trade down. I don't know if you would trade down the 17th spot, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
All right, my friend. Good stuff as always. Great to visit with you. Check out Bradford Banta on the Lions Squad Show with Jake Riepma and Natalie Kerwin twice a week. What is it? Tuesdays and Fridays. You guys are jumping around.
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Thursdays, yes.
Yep.
What do we have? A scheduling conflict? What's going on?
We did.
Well, Natalie, she's busy running around the LCA and
when it's just you, you can make your own schedule. But when you put 2 other people in the mix, So
know.
you gotta make things work.
So great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
There's our man, Bradford Banta. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by Game Time NFL season. Well, we're into the playoffs now. Divisional rounds in full swing. There's nothing like being at the game, the crowd noise, the energy, cheering alongside other fans. You want to head down to Chicago, maybe go to the game on Sunday. There are tickets available on the Game Time app. The Game Time app is the best. And here's the thing. You're always frustrated when you're trying to find tickets, right? You wait in queues, you deal with logins, you watch prices change right at checkout. That's why I got the Game Time app. It gives the advantage back to us, the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. All right. I pulled up the Game Time app, check out upcoming NFL games. I was looking the other day at Rams and Bears. And hey, there's great ticket options there almost instantly. All right. The app is incredibly intuitive. Browsing, comparing, and buying tickets. It just took minutes. Plus, I got the zone deals that stood out. So you pick a section that you want to be in. Game Time picks the seats, and you save even more. I'm heading up to Toronto to see my Guardians face the Blue Jays in April. I'll get my tickets on Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and get back to being there live. And we are also brought to you today by our friends at FanDuel Wildcard Round. Done. Divisional round. And then the Final Four next weekend. FanDuel's officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. So every game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts that you can apply to the bets that you like the most. The boost gives you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. And every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way as well. You can make your picks and apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. All right, put some money down on the Rams, like -7, 7.5. Big favorite on the road in Chicago. Let's go, Rams. Come on. Visit FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner in the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. All right, so we want to thank you for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast, but also shout outs to our everydayers that are out there. All right. And as you know, we got ourselves a little Locked On Lions Everydayer Club that you too can join. All right. You can get an ad-free feed of the show on Apple or Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Plus, you can also be on our Discord server, which has our Locked On Lions Everydayer Club group chat. Double J is on there. Michael Brescher Jr. is on there. Stephen Facine is on there. Chris Druin, Gavin Trevino. The list goes on and on of my peeps that check in with us on our Discord server. It's fun. We chat on there. We're talking Lions. Double J hit me up on there. He wanted to be our call of the day. And I said, you know what? For being in the Everydayer Club, it's going to happen. And I'm going to play that call in a second. Just go to lockedonlions.supercast.com, lockedonlions.supercast.com, and join us on our Everydayer Club. Now, Double J, he hit me up on the Discord. He's like, Matt, I want to be the call of the day. What's the website to do it? I said, Jay, you go to speakpipe.com/Dery podcast page. And that's exactly what he did. And he is our call of the day today. It's our man, Double J. And of course, I lost it. Now I got to get it back. Hang on, Jay. I'm going to play your thing. Here we go. Jamie. I gave away his first name. Double J. He is our call of the day today here on a Friday, Locked On Lions.
Hello, Mr. Dery. This is Double J in the Discord. I just wanted to say thank you for your tireless efforts. You've kept me living in Montana, originally from Michigan, but living in Montana, up to date up to speed on everything going on with the Lions. Much appreciation. Thank you, brother. Question, though. If we concentrate on fixing the O-line and the D-line, how, in your opinion, would we go about securing our secondary isn't in the situation that it is in today?
All right. There's Double J checking in, asking about the secondary. That's a very good question because when we discuss Lions needs, and we got free agency before the draft, but we're all talking about it, right? Got to get a center, got to maybe replace Taylor Decker at left tackle. You got to get an interior defensive lineman, probably 2. You got to get some edge rushers too. You got to bring back Al-Qadim Muhammad or whomever else. That's a priority. But yes, the secondary is a question mark. Amik Robertson is a free agent. He kind of touched on it in his, in his final press conference, or at least his media scrum, that he might not be back. We had Terry Arnold coming back from injury, Kirby Joseph coming back from injury, Brian Branch coming back from injury. Yeah, the Lions, I think, in free agency are going to go out and find some guys, whether it's another safety, a couple of corners, because you can't rely on guys that have been hurt. Ennis Rakestraw has been hurt for 2 years. Khalil Dorsey has been hurt. I think you got to re-up Avonte Maddox. I think you got to re-up Rock Yassin. Both those guys played well in complementary roles, but I think they've got to add the secondary somehow, some way, both in the draft and certainly in free agency. No question about it. All right. Enjoy the games this weekend. We're hopefully going to catch up next week with Stacey Dales from the NFL Network, who I think is as good an NFL reporter down on the field after games as there is. Stacey going to hopefully join us Wednesday. We're working on that. Have a great weekend, everybody. We are back on Monday with a fresh week next week of Locked on Lions. Stafford and the Rams. Let's do this.